Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Beyond Borders. This is the space where we explore the harder questions, the ones that don't always fit in a headline. Each week we go deeper into the future of creativity, systems, technology and trust. Not just to make sense of where we're going, but to ask, what are we building and who are we becoming as we build it? Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn, and as always, I'm joined by the super talented Pim, founder of Digitize, and the ever thoughtful Sprenko, writer and founder of the Real Talk Hub. In today's episode, we're joined by a very special guest, Lisi Wang, also known as Pinkyhootart, an incredible watercolour artist whose journey from shoe designer to full-time creative is a masterclass in creative reinvention. Lisi is known for her luminous, dreamlike paintings, often featuring women, florals and symbolic watches that explore inner worlds, emotion and the quiet strength it takes to keep going. Alongside her artwork, Lisi also holds space for other creatives through her own podcast and community work, creating conversations around identity, courage and finding your voice. In this episode, we'll be exploring what it takes to pivot, to rebuild, and to hold on to your creative identity even when everything around you changes. And we know that this story will resonate with artists, freelancers, and career changers, with anyone really who's ever had to start again and make that start count. So let's drop in. Lisi, welcome to Beyond Borders. We're so happy to have you with us today. We'd love to start with the moment of the shift for you, the one where you realised something had to change, you know, that the life that you'd built in shoe design wasn't quite the life you wanted to keep building. Can you take us back to that time? What was happening for you and how did it feel?
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Caroline, for the wonderful introduction. And thank you for having me here on your podcast. I want to get that out of the way. This question I have thought about for a little bit. I think there wasn't any one particular moment when that happened, but a bunch of small events that led up to me taking the plunge, so to speak. So I want to take you back to 2019. That was the year my daughter was born. She is 6 now, and can you believe that? But having been in the US, that you get 3 months off from your birth, your trauma, basically, and then going back to work, I felt this immense guilt where I I saw my, 3 months old daughter for like 30 minutes in the morning when I'm getting ready, breastfeeding her and whatnot, and then coming like rush home at nighttime around, 6:37, so that, still have my work clothes on, still have my makeup on, trying to put her to sleep. And going through that for a few months, it just broke my heart because we all know like that time is so precious and I am away from her when she probably needed me the most, it felt like, right? So then that was 2019. And then 2020, that was when COVID happened. The global pandemic just made us reset, made every one of us reset in some ways. And I just felt this friction between the need for this individual, the Lisi in me, and then the need of the company and the authorities, because everybody around you was telling you what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. And then I thought the friction just really made me wonder, is this what I'm still supposed to do? Because, for the longest time, becoming a shoe designer was my dream. I dreamt about it literally. And, I got myself out of my life, moved to LA to pursue it. And so that got me thinking. And then, on top of that, I was a design director at that time already. And I can just see the glass ceiling in front of me. And Caroline, we have talked about this, being in a very male-dominated industry, shoe design, the shoe industry is full of shoe dogs. The
Mm.
term was coined by Phil Knight in the book, and it's something we all know being in the industry, right? Um, I just can see my glass ceiling. I can imagine I've been at that job for 8 years, which was the longest job I've had. And I can imagine, going forward another 15 years, uh, not much probably would have changed. I'll probably still be in that hamster wheel of trying to please the authority, trying to please my manager, designing things that for the masses, which was great. But then that creative being inside of me that I called it the creative child, the child that wanted to play, that want to create something for myself was just tugging at me. And 2021, I discovered NFT. And I think that's where all, maybe you guys discovered a little bit earlier than I did, but 2021, still, during pandemic, I discovered NFT and I felt this hope that, hey, maybe I can do this as an artist and be a creative and actually make a living for myself. Maybe it's okay. So 2021, my husband and I decided that we're gonna move out of LA, move to Utah, and I quit my job and then started like plunge into this NFT world and creation and making full time. And here we are in 2025, almost 2026.
Wow, here we are indeed. And it's been a journey. There's so much there. And thank you so much for sharing some personal insights, which I think, anyone listening can identify with. There's such a span there. And particularly, no, I can identify, and you're right, you and I have talked a lot about this kind of themes, these themes, which I think we think, really are personal to us as females. Certainly some of them are, that conflict that you feel as a mum with little ones to pursuing your life and having to keep going in the daily grind. And I'm just wondering, I'm going to bring Ping in there, Pinky, because I think it's an important question to ask Pim and Sprenko here. Was there any particular risk or obstacle in your life that nearly stopped you from moving forward? Or, you felt the tug of maybe relational issues or whatever, and what helped you push through if there was one? Pim?
Well, wonderful story, Pinky Notes. I have a couple of questions as well, but to go to your question first, Caroline. Well, after I got sick, there was plenty of obstacles with going through what I used to do or switching industries. I switched industries because of health matters. Of course, there's plenty of risk involved going from, let's say, a safe haven of a sector where you know everyone, you know what to do, it's your kind of work, and going to some completely different where you have to meet people and see uh, who does what is what, and discover it all new. Definitely some risk involved. Did it stop me? Eventually, no, because I have luckily have plenty of people. You should try a different industry because of the health reasons. So that was a quite easy step for me to at least try it, and I'm still here, so I think it goes well. And also the question from Pinky, because did you said you discussed it with your husband, and do you also saw what risks were from going from a different industry to NFTs? And I'm also curious, do you think that the NFT space or the Web3 space is also male dominated?
Um, I'll answer the part one question first. I think when my husband and I discussed this, it was for sure a risk, but I think um, we moved out of LA as a way to mitigate that risk, right? Because we all know that the cost of living is high in LA, and my husband has a marketing agency, but at the time it was just starting up, and like my shoe design job paid me a lot of money. So it was something that we were comfortable with in LA. But for me to quit my job and do something more risky, the way we mitigate that was to move out of LA, and it's been working out really nicely so far. So yeah, to anyone who's listening, if you want something, you kind of have to give up something, right? And I think that's life is a zero sum game, and I still very much believe in that. So that was the quote unquote sacrifice I took, and then when it's funny with life when you take a risk, when you do something different, you kind of discover something brand new that you didn't even realize you needed. And for me, it was this nature, was being in closer to to the wild. And that was good for me, which I didn't realize because I grew up I was born in China and I grew up in very crowded cities all my life until then, pretty much. And the second part was, do I think the NFT space is male dominated? I think very much so. But I do feel like females find their little niches inside of it. And, that's how I met Caroline, and I met many, many other wonderful female artists in this space. And yeah, a very wonderful space that I find comfortable in. So I think, yes, the space is male dominated, but that shouldn't stop any female from entering and forming relationships and friendships within it.
Oh yeah, that's great to hear, and I'm very happy that the nature actually brings you a lot of benefits, which I agree on definitely when it comes to living the city life. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pim. Thank you, Pinky. Okay, Sprinko, you're listening intently here. What direction would you like to take this conversation in with your mental health hat on?
Yeah, it's been a very moving share, Pinky. I appreciate you for doing this. And one thing sticks out for me is leaving one identity behind and stepping into another. It's not just about work, it's personal because it touches every part of how we see ourselves. And I'm curious, what did that transition from, being a shoe designer, living in a crowded city, you know, move into some place you've probably never experienced before and into a new industry? What did that stir up in you in terms of your identity as a creative?
So much actually. I think that was, I wouldn't say the biggest thing, like the change I've done in my life, because moving from China to the US was kind of huge deal. But that was, what my family did. So that was beyond my own self-control. But this transition was kind of a self-inflicted, shall we say. And what it stirred up was a lot of insecurity and fear. That you kind of realize just because you're good at one thing, just because the one environment you excelled at, doesn't mean that will translate through to every single part, right? And coming into the NFT space and really just starting out to do something on my own was a huge, humbling experience, and then that experience kind of forced me to reimagine and rethink my personal identity as an individual and as a creative. I would say from zero almost.
Now, that's
Sprinko,
the
do you want to
thing.
come back in there?
Sorry.
Yes, it's interesting, especially highlighting insecurity because it's something that in my work as a mental health consultant I see a lot of times, and I'm just thrilled that you've over the years transitioned, I would say quite successfully, and thriving and doing your thing, especially in this industry that is quite not just insecure, but unpredictable. So
Mhm.
you're doing amazing. And I'm glad that you're sharing your story with us today. Carlin, back to you.
Oh, thank you, Sprinko, and thank you, Lissy, for that. I think there's something incredibly vulnerable about reinvention, and I've done it myself, and we've talked about it before in X Spaces, Pinky.
Mhm.
It's something about leaving a role behind where you are recognized and successful and there's monetary reward from it
Mhm.
as well as what you get from it, and it's incredibly difficult and it's painful, and there's something grief laden in it. That's what I felt. Was there a part of you that grieved what you left behind, and if yes, how long did that take to to relax? How long did it take for you to relax into your new persona?
I would say 3 years. I feel like I'm just starting to get
Wow.
on the other side of it. Do I grieve what I left behind? Absolutely. I actually think about during those times of insecurity and times of challenge, I think back on those times. It's like, oh, things were so easy back then, and I didn't have to think about all these things that I'm thinking about now, right? You feel like you're in that secure cocoon, and you just, did what you did. So I absolutely grieved what I left behind, but I also think about the things I got now, the things I gained from the things I left behind. Like, I don't regret that decision whatsoever. And I think there is something to that, right? When I go through those challenge times, I ask myself, was this a good idea going where I am right now? And then the heart, the inside, that little voice in me is happy where I am. And I think for me, that maybe is enough for now. Do I want to become as successful as I am as a shoe designer, being an artist going forward? Absolutely. Do you think I'll get there? I think so. It might just take me a little longer, right? But I think because I left, when you have a job, there's like the control, the part of you that's not you, right? And through this experience, I feel like I found my meaning for life and my purpose, which is create art and create this world that I can share with people. And I think that's enough for me for now.
Permit me if I come in here because I've just been, just been smiling. It's beautiful because no, it's very relatable. A lot of times in transition phases like this, you said 3 years to adapt, to adjust, and all that is incredible because a lot of times as a man, there's this struggle with what would people think. So I can only imagine how that weight must have been on you, leaving that super successful job, career and moving into a space where you have to start over, So I know things like, what will people think? Are you going to be good at this? And especially when you're not getting the reception or the accolades you thought you would get, initially, or even over time. People have been in this space for 3, 4 years and they've not made half of what they thought they could. So I'm really impressed by your journey so far. And I'm glad that things like fear of being misunderstood, fear of being seen like a failure, or lack of as much support as you would get hasn't stopped you in your journey so far. I'm really thrilled, and I appreciate you for going this far.
Yeah.
Curious to hear what Carolyn thinks anyway as well.
Thank you, Sprenko, and thank you, Pinky. You wanted to come in there, Pinky.
Oh, no, I just want to thank Sprinkle for saying that because yes, that insecure and all that, you feel that absolutely. And I still feel that some ways, but it gets better every day.
Yeah, I think it's huge, isn't it? You can't underestimate the impact. And when you share quite openly that it's taken you 3 years, and I understand Sprenko for coming in there because it is massive. But I want to take us now, all three of us, to the mindsets and practices that have helped you hold this course steady and not think to yourself, oh, I'm going to go back because I know that and it knows me and I don't know this. So I want to talk about what happens after the leap during the rebuilding phase. There must have been some real work that you have done when no one is watching, and how have you done that? What have you done practically? I know, and I will share because it's out there in the public domain that you work extensively with AI, not in terms of your art, obviously, but in terms of as a creative sounding board or whatever. So I know about that. But what else has kept you focused and help to steer you back when times got rough? And I'm going to go to Pim and Sprenko for that as well. Pinky.
Okay, so I'll start and then I'll hand the mic to Pim or Sprinkle next. Yeah. So I think having that quote unquote northern light in you is important because you got to know why you want this, right? And I think about that all the time, like, why do I want this? But it's like that tug in you that you just have to do this and there's no other way. that's been the guiding light. But that's just, something that we tell ourselves in some ways. That doesn't mean anything, right? Like, so in daily practice, I want to say that I want to share that having a routine for my art practice in daily life really, really helped me. Like wake up a certain time, make a certain amount of art, show up in front of the Twitter X or show up to do what you do. You just have to, no matter how you feel, no matter, if you don't feel like it that day, you just gotta do it. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. And then I think the second thing I'm getting better at, and that really helped me, is to really have the courage and the audacity to believe in myself. Because it's so easy for us to, especially creative people, to doubt ourselves, right? To doubt, it's like, am I good enough? Is my work enough? Will anybody appreciate that? Is anybody laughing at me? Just like everything that Sprinkle mentioned, it's a courage to push all that aside and say, you know what? I belong here. I'm going to do this, and it's gonna be okay. It's gonna take a while, but it's gonna be okay. Just have the courage to even say that to yourself, I think really helped me. So these two things, having routine and have the courage to believe in myself. Back to you guys.
I really agree with the routine part. It's very important when starting out and having a routine and getting multiple things done during the day at multiple subjects. So I really love it that you say that, because that's also a way of work for me. So I'm very relatable. I also definitely in the beginning, the routine was really finding people in general for the projects, just to connect, to have ideas with. And then it helped me a lot in getting over the leap of going to a new industry. What about you, Spanko?
Yeah, it's it's funny you mention it as well, because a lot of times following a particular pattern may seem like over preparedness or planning too much, or just too straightforward, but it's helped over time. And one thing I have to ask Pinky before this episode is over is, has your relationship with art shifted, in the course of your journey so far? Times where, you feel like you're not good enough, people are not connecting with your work enough. Did that affect your relationship with art, or has your creativity evolved over time?
That's a great question. I actually never thought about that. But yes, I think my relationship with art has evolved for the better, actually. I think I love my art now, probably way more than I did before. And I like I don't know why, but I have this strange trust that I believe that my art is good. It just, I haven't found the right, community or the right collector, the right gallery yet to get there. So my next part is to do that one third part, right? I feel like one third is, you got to show up to do the routine, to do the work. The second part is that to become better every day at your art and believe in your art. And the third part is really like the marketing, the outreach, the sales part, right? And I feel like I'm working on that part right now. Thank you.
It's amazing. I really love the fact that you are proud. You not only love your work, you're proud of it, and it's outstanding. Honestly, I've seen a lot of it. I'm working towards getting some for myself as well. So it's brilliant that despite the struggles, despite being in a new field, despite transitioning to a new industry that you had no idea about, you're not letting anything stop you. You're not letting anything slow you down. You're championing your drive and you're pushing through. It's absolutely stunning. I love it. Carolyn.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm smiling here, as you can probably hear, because I think, and Pim and Sprenko will agree with me, I'm sure, that one of the themes that emerges for us across these podcast episodes is the importance of your why. And you talked about your North Star. And I think also what's becoming clear through this conversation is the work that has to go in to get you from where you were to where you are now. And it isn't easy, and it is a process. But when it clicks, it's like a light going on inside you, and you become driven. And you said, my art is so good, I'm just missing the right collector, the right gallery, the right opportunity. And I agree with you. It is so powerful. And we can all say that whatever it is that is driving us, whatever light it is that's underneath us, if we keep going, we will find the people that will coalesce around whatever it is that we are offering to the world. Doesn't always feel like it. Doesn't and I think part of the reason it doesn't always feel like it is because we are kind of programmed to think that success is easy. And therefore, if it's taking a while, am I in the right place? But the fact that you actually know that at this point, talking to us here today, I think is incredibly powerful. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying?
Yes, and I want to share with everybody that I myself went through that process, right? I've had many fights and conversations with my husband about it. So it's not like how I feel now, the things I'm sharing right now just happened overnight. And I did share that it took me 3 years and there's a lot of ups and downs. And I probably expect more ups and downs going forward. But, yeah, I just want to thank you, Caroline, for mentioning that this part isn't easy. So for anybody who's listening, like, if you're going through hell, keep going. And I think that's still true.
Yeah, and it is a really, really important reflection because I think that nothing easy comes easy. Nothing worth having comes easy. And that is the key, isn't it? It's with work, really. And we're working on ourselves as well as we are working on our art or our content or whatever it is that we're doing. So thank you so much for that. So we're coming to the end of today's episode. It's gone super fast. It's been such a powerful and grounded conversation. Pinky, thank you so much. And also Pim and Sprenko. So I want to leave listeners with a parting gift from us all. What's one insight, starting with you, Pinky, what's one insight you'd offer to someone listening who's standing at the edge of a new beginning and feeling everything that you felt back, when you started? What would you say?
I would say keep your ego in check because no one owes you anything, that you chose to do this on your own. So, keep your ego in check. And then I say be flexible and really ready to pivot often because you're going to find that what you think is the thing to do is not the thing. And that's going to happen very often. So be flexible. And then lastly, just keep going. As we just mentioned, just going to keep going until you find it, quote unquote. Thank you.
I love that, Pinky. Thank you so much. Pim, over to you.
Yes, also always keep going, keep your head up, be prepared to have some real emotional meltdowns, but always keep going. Always stay open for new information because you're going to be working with people who are more veteran within the industry. So really listen to what they have to say and try to learn. Because the moment you keep learning, eventually all the bricks will come together and build you, let's say, a new house. So keep going, keep learning, and eventually also try to enjoy it. Don't forget that part.
I love that, Pim. Thank you so much. What about you, Sprenko? Final reflection.
First thing I would say is you don't have to wait to have all the pieces to start fitting your life together. And one thing I would like to add is your mental health cannot be played with. Remember that failing at something doesn't make you a failure. So if you fail, learn, move on, and like Pinky said, be ready to pivot as often as possible. That's what makes life beautiful. Make memories along the way, enjoy the process, and you will shine.
I love that. And you know what? I can't really add to any of that. All I can say is that I agree with all of you. And I hope that everyone listening to this today takes something away. And I think if I was to sum up, just one of the most powerful things is to keep going. It takes time, it takes energy, and it takes pain. Just keep going, as Pinky said. So thank you for that. So thank you, everybody, for listening to Beyond Borders. If Pinky's story moved you, let us know. And keep walking your own reinvention journey with intention, presence, and creativity. Until next time, stay curious, stay true, and keep showing up as the you that only you can be. Bye, everybody.